Hey guys, welcome back. Today I am becoming a zombie. To get started, push your hair back and put on some primer or moisturizer. I am using a gelatin mix that I learned from Glam Gore, and I don't have a microwave, so I'm using some hot water to heat it up, but if you use a microwave, do it for 12 seconds at a time. I'm using an eyeliner pencil to roughly draw out some lines of some wounds and some skin. I am looking at a few reference photos from The Walking Dead, and just wherever I see fit, some wounds should go. For the mouth, I'm using liquid latex for the first time. I put a thin layer on and use a Kleenex and keep layering up the Kleenex and latex about 4 or 5 times, and I let it dry. I did find it easier if you have 2-ply Kleenex to separate it to 1-ply. With the 2-ply, it just kept ripping, as you can see here, so I ended up taking it off and doing it again, and I cut off the excess with some scissors. Do this very, very carefully. You can rip it, but I wanted some smooth edges, and to help that, I used some more liquid latex going over it to blend in with my skin. I'm also putting on some liquid latex on my forehead, wrinkling it, but I ended up going over it with gelatin, so it doesn't really matter at this point. I forgot to hit record, but you want to make sure your gelatin is, not too hot. Test it on the back of your hand, and if it's too hot for your hand, then it's going to be way too hot for your face. So I cut up some cotton pads and rolled them up, and I'm using the gelatin to stick it down and blend it to my skin. I am using a plastic knife. If you're going to do this, be very, very careful. And where I drew lines, I am doing a thick layer of gelatin to make it look like it's my cheekbones. And any other spare areas, I am just making it look tacky to give a really good skin texture and to create some holes for some wounds. As for my nose, I made it look like it got ripped off, so I'm doing a thick border around the outside in a triangle shape and a little bit on the other side to make it look like there's a big bloody hole there. If your gelatin starts to get really thick, throw it back in your microwave for about 12 seconds. In my case, I had to throw it in some more hot water, and then I continued on my chest and throat, making more wounds and just random textures and layers. The latex should be dry, so I'm ripping back the edges to make it look like I have exposed muscle and some good old skin flaps. For my teeth, I am drying them with a Kleenex and roll some up and stuff them up in my lips to help keep my mouth open while drying. I also couldn't open it apparently, so I got Aaron to come and help me and proceeded to paint my teeth very messily and let it dry for about 5 to 10 minutes. This stuff does taste very disgusting, and it feels like you have big fuzzy slippers on your teeth. But the effect is awesome. I am now using some black Graftobian Pro Paint for some shadows and to give some muscle structure to my mouth. Doesn't really matter too much because I am going over all of this with red anyway. Now that the gelatin is dry, I'm just quickly going over it with some translucent powder to get rid of the shine and ready for some foundation. I'm using my everyday concealer to add in some highlights where they would naturally be, nothing too crazy, and just blending it in. I am now doing a light layer of liquid foundation as a base. I found using a stippling brush works best to get into all of the crevices and onto the tissue paper. Using a dark gray shadow and a fluffy brush, I am contouring my face to make it look more sunken in, as well as a smaller brush to make my eyes and nose look sunken in as well. As always, make sure you really blend it out. We don't want any harsh, dark lines. With my Mayron bruise ring and a sponge, I am grabbing a little bit of each color and dabbing it on my face in layers. There's no specific pattern, just adding in some color and to give it some depth and a dead skin tone, and some highlighting with the yellow. With the 2 shades of red, I am also filling in around my eyes and my mouth area. I will be painting over this, but this is just to give it some more depth. I wanted to lighten it back up, so I did a really quick light layer of foundation again with my stippling brush. Of course, since we added all that color, I went back in with the gray and a light fluffy brush to add in the contouring again. Again, adding more of the colors from the bruise ring for depth and effect. This skin is all about layers. You just keep layering color upon color upon color everywhere. With my Mayron Paradise paint in red, I am filling in any of the holes that the gelatin has left and the scratches on the side of my face, along with my throat and mouth area. And I will be going over these places with fake blood, but this is to just give a base color. You can add as many or as little wounds as you like. I personally like a lot of wounds. I think it makes it look a lot better, but personal preference, do whatever you like. Going back in with the black paint, everywhere you put red, go in with some shadowing. I'm skipping over this part just because you watched me paint all the red places. It's the exact same process, just shadowing. Now using a bit of red and purple mixed together to add a little bit more depth on the other side, acting as a bit of a highlight. Now the best part, adding in all of the fake blood. I made this fake blood out of corn syrup, cornstarch, and red food coloring. It is safe to consume if you do get it in your mouth. It does taste really, really sweet. I found using a paintbrush worked out for the best, and if it drips, that's okay. It just adds into the look. This cornstarch blood does dry, and it is nice because it leaves a bit of a shine but doesn't move around too much once it is dry, which I love. Pop in some contacts, and there you have it. You are now a zombie. I hope you guys liked my take on becoming a zombie. This was my very first time trying at it. If you did like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.